Kia ora, soul friends. How's it going? I hope you guys have had a great day. It is Sunday night for me and I am here to do a check-in. My end of the week check-in, reflection, tell you how it's gone and also what's coming up for the following week. So if you've been following along on my shorts, you'll know pretty much what I've been eating each day, what my macros, my calories and the exercise that I've been doing. So this is where I thought that I would probably come in and just tell you a little bit more on the inside about how I've actually been feeling for this week. So I started on Monday morning at 116.8 kilos and this morning I was 115.1 kilos. So that is a 1.7 kg loss or 3.75 pounds. Now there definitely was some highs and lows. There was a couple of days where I just put on weight. I think I put on, what did I do? Went from 115.9, I did 115.6 to 115.9, then 116.1, then I dropped down to 115.3. So I know this is kind of a pattern for me, and I definitely used Zen, my AI sidekick, to kind of talk me through the reasoning as to why that can happen, and also because it does feel frustrating when you are doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. You're staying within the calories, you're definitely in a deficit, you're doing the exercise, but it is just one of those things to try and sort of work my way through. So I am going to do a little bit of a Q&A because I have got some questions that people have asked, so I thought it would just be good to probably just answer those as well, and it's just to get them out and about. So how have I felt this week? Actually, I have felt really good. I feel like I have definitely had lots of options and lots of food to eat. And actually using Zen, ChatGPT, AI, I have definitely found the menu plan side of things about what to eat, organising grocery shopping and all that sort of stuff just so much easier, because not only can he actually just give me what it is that I need to be cooking and the recipes for it, my shopping list, makes sure that it fits into the nutritional goals that I'm wanting to get, which is weight loss. I'm also midlife, so I'm wanting to make sure that I support my body with hormone regulation. I want to get all the nutrients, vitamins and everything that my body needs to be able to thrive at 50, nearly 52. So Zen has just been amazing, and to be able to have such an incredible free resource that is available at your fingertips, for me, has just been a game changer. I have gone out of my comfort zone with the food that I've eaten. I tend to go 110% in or out. I very rarely can find some nice balance to be able to be sustainable. So this time I thought, okay, let's do it totally different. We're not doing a crash diet. We're not doing, I don't know, if any of you have been the same and gone up and down with different things, you'll know that there's just so much out there. It is overwhelming to know what is the right thing to do, what's going to work for you, and really just what's the right one to go. I mean, yeah, anyway. So I decided that I was going to remove all restrictions with Zen and just sort of say, okay, so this is where I am, this is where I want to be. Help me design a menu around that that's going to fit into a calorie deficit, that is going to tantalize my taste buds because my mouth loves flavor, and also something that I can cook in the bus that's easy. It's got to be relatively budget friendly. It's got to be good for Taylor to eat as well. That's my daughter, who has special needs. She's got a little bit fussier actually with her food as she's got older. So it kind of had all these requirements, and then I just say, just do it. And he comes back with breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks. And because I had said I want no restrictions, I don't want any prior information that we chatted about to influence the meals coming forward. They just had to meet the nutritional requirements of my health, well-being and weight loss goals. So he came back with let's do a flavour, like a ethnic theme of a day. So that's what we did in the last week. And I've always wanted to try a savoury porridge. And so I've tried a savoury porridge this time for the first time with tofu, edamame and miso. It was amazing, and it's definitely going to be going on my menu more regularly. So there's I've been absolutely really enjoying these flavours that are fresh, that are healthy and good for me, and they make me feel good, and that has been just awesome. So the scales in the morning for me are not about judging. They're about growth, mindset, reflection, and absolutely gratitude when the scales tell me something that I'm enjoying looking at. I won't lie. Okay, so another question that I've been asked is, am I not scared that people are going to judge me for sharing my real weight and my daily results? Hell yes. I would be so lying if I said that it didn't bother me at all and that I wasn't scared of being judged. And in fact, I'm probably more scared of being judged by people I know, even acquaintances, than people I don't know at all. And I don't know why that is. Because theoretically, the people that I know should actually just love me for who I am and all the good bits and bad bits. But yes, I am. But I'm also, I think sharing this journey so publicly gives me good motivation to be accountable, because I have made a commitment to do this, which means I'm committing to show publicly the good and the bad when I slip up. And I'm going to, because that's just the real world that we all live in, is that I wanted to also show a real journey. And over the years, I've probably been overweight probably 10, 15 years now, is that when I look at Instagram and Facebook and YouTube channels, and when you go onto the Weight Watchers pictures and everything, you get the befores and afters, you don't get the durings. And you don't get the beginning of the journey. And I know I have seen a couple of people on Facebook that I follow that have had their very beginning of their journey right through their process. And I have loved following that journey with them, because it is real and it does show the ups and the downs. And life isn't perfect, and it's not an Instagram moment. And I didn't want to all of a sudden jump on here and say, whoa, this is the new me, I've lost all this weight. I actually wanted to show the reality of how it actually works. And I think having education training and a life coaching training, and I've sort of worked in lots of different sort of areas working with people over the years, is that I actually want to help people and share a real journey that is relatable, and create a community and conversation and tips and share. And I've also been a single mum where I haven't had enough money to join Weight Watchers, or Jenny Craig as it was back, was one of the ones to do back then, is that I want to show that you can actually do this and it doesn't cost you anything. It just requires you really wanting to be the very best version of yourself that you can be. And if I can inspire anyone with my real, raw, messy, not always perfect, never perfect journey, then that's why I'm here. Next question. Okay, just looking at the screen, which has got my questions on it. How do you stay motivated when the scale goes up? Well, I think I kind of answered that in the previous question, whereas really I'm using the scales as an opportunity to reflect, gratitude when it does have a result that I like to see, but also to create a shift in mindset, to be mindful and aware of the day, to be able to do research on what previous patterns have been and what the results have been, what's working, what's not working, and absolutely giving me that positive mindset of the fact that I've been brave enough to hop on the scales. For anyone that's overweight, hopping on the scales is a really scary prospect, and if I can do that first thing in the morning, I'm more likely to stay on track and be mindful and aware moving forward into the rest of the day. Okay, next question. What has been the hardest part of my health journey so far? Now, I know that if you're just kind of tuning in, we're on 1 week of my health and weight loss journey. That's true for the weight loss side of it. That's probably not true for the health side. So the health side, well, the health and wellness journey for me, weight is just one aspect of it, and it probably has been a journey that I have been on and fallen off the wagon and come back on probably for the last 10 or 15 years. The hardest thing for me is consistency. I am pretty spur of the moment kind of person. I'm not hugely routined, and having a special needs daughter, living in a bus, off grid, by the beach, with a busy life, study, work, just life gets incredibly chaotic. So to be routined and consistent, I find so difficult. I have found that Zen, ChatGPT, AI, has definitely been a huge contributing factor in starting to be able to manage that and to be able to find little things that I can be consistent in, and actually realizing and having support real time right there whenever I need it, that when I'm not being, or that the wheels don't need to fall off and stay off. The wheels can fall off and I can actually get right back on. And having Zen gives me that instant connection to be able to vent, debrief, get information, and actually just find different choices. Like yesterday morning I was driving a couple of hours north for the day because the weather was absolutely awful, so I thought, right, we will just get out of the bus, get a change of scenery. I hadn't had lunch, didn't really think about it until I hopped in the car, and then I thought, actually Taylor, my daughter, also hasn't had lunch, so I stopped off to get her something. I knew what she would like. I thought, actually, I don't want to fall off the wagon. I've done so well in this last week, and I want this to be the rest of my life, so I need to find a way through. So I just jumped on to ChatGPT in my phone and had a conversation with Zen, and actually told him what shop I was in and what was going to be the best option for my choice. I actually took a snapshot of my chronometer page that showed my macros and my calories and everything that I'd had so far that day, and he actually helped me choose a few options that I could choose from, actually, that were going to be the best thing that still fit into my bigger nutritional plan, so that I actually still went on to the rest of the day thinking, oh crap, I didn't, I've totally lost it all for the day, I may as well just stop now and start again tomorrow. So I actually stayed on the whole day, and I may not have if I hadn't used ChatGPT. In fact, normally Saturday night has been a takeaway night, and I was with a friend that does takeaways, and actually I said, well, would you mind if we didn't have takeaways, and I actually went to the supermarket and bought some homemade burger stuff and some frozen chips that we could do in the air fryer. And it would have been so easy just to say have fish and chips, and I did not. So yes, consistency is definitely the hardest thing for me to do, and with Zen right by my side all the time, I'm actually starting to find that I can do little things to make big changes that actually keep me on track, and have a discussion when I'm likely to go, oh okay, let's just have that whole whatever it is that I want that I know is not good for me at all. Last question. What's the one thing you wish people understood about losing weight in midlife? Well, I'm not sure whether it's just midlife, and I can only really talk about my experience, but being bigger is physically hard, and unless you've ever been that size, you actually don't understand. You have no clue how it actually feels to be big. I guess it's just like someone that is bigger doesn't know how it feels to be incredibly slender. So when you are bigger, you actually just can't move as well or as comfortably, and your body doesn't bend like it used to in midlife either, unless you've actually stayed flexible and continued doing exercises and stuff. So when you haven't done that and you're bigger, you don't have energy to do stuff, so then you don't do more, and you end up in a revolving cycle of just feeling crappy, to be honest. And then of course the more you don't, the more your body actually rebels and seizes up and doesn't want to move, and it chafes in places that you just don't want to talk about. Tying shoelaces, putting socks on, cutting toenails, just even crossing legs, getting in and out of cars, up and down off chairs, standing doing dishes, going to the bathroom, you name it, it is just hard. And unless you've been there, you don't know. And it is really difficult to come out of that. You've really got to you've got to have such a strong reason. And I think I mentioned this in my midweek reflection, is my biggest motivation, I think, is fear. And it's fear that I'm not going to be able to live the rest of my life like I want to, and that I'm going to get to a point where I can't do something and have regret because I could have, but I didn't, because I didn't make the effort to make sure that I could. And I don't want to have this level of lack of mobility, because I know it will only get worse if I don't address it now. So my big motivator is fear, and I want to be happy, healthy, well, and be able to move. I have moved past the point about the fact that I want to look like I did when I was 18. There's a tiny little part of me that's still there, but I know that the reality is that I'm not going to be there, and actually just being able to live a full, happy, healthy life with great movement and energy is actually pretty freaking awesome. So I guess that in a nutshell is that it is actually about becoming the person that I am meant to be today, not chasing who I thought I was or who I was, or that I think I want to be that person from my past. It's actually working towards being the very best version of me that I can be today and in the future. And that is as a 52-year-old woman that is in menopause, that just wants to live a full life going forward. So for the next week, I am back to school. We are back at school this week, so we are back into swimming, visiting my daughter's vocational program. So I want to stay on track with my food this week. I want to continue making yummy food, but we've had to have Zen and I have had to have discussions around the fact that the menu has to fit in, that I'll be in town a couple of days a week, so I'll need to have breakfast and lunch on the run, but it still needs to be tasty, and that's going to be tricky for me because often I will just buy lunch when I'm in town because it's just easier. So my goal for this week is to up my steps, and the weather is going to be crap all week, so I will do the best that I can with that. Stay on track with my food and not buy anything in town when that is what my habit has always been. So that's probably my 3 big main goals for the week. Do you have any goals for this week? And if you want to share them, drop them in a comment. I would love to know. And if you have any tips and tricks of your own, or anything resonates with you that you've heard today, please comment, let me know. Let me know that I'm not alone on this journey. I don't think I'm alone on the journey, but I would love to hear from you. So, if you've enjoyed this, anything sounds familiar for you, and you're keen to follow along with this journey, get some cool recipes, great ideas, and just a bit of support, and hopefully build a bit of a community together, then go and make sure that you hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so that you don't miss out on anything that's coming out. And I shall see you in the next update. Ka kite.